welcome back to Adventure 82. Today we're at Grosnez Castle, one of 3 castles that are in the island of Jersey. This one's probably less known about, to be honest. It's not really a castle, as you can see. It's more ruins, let's be honest. The castle itself hasn't been used since, I think, probably about the late 1400s, early 1500s. But what we'll do is we'll have a look around at what's left of this place. I'll give you some information about the castle because not a lot is known, but I'd be amiss showing you all the historical bits and pieces within the island if I didn't cover this at some point. So let's have a look and see what we can find. There are some interesting bits about. Right, what makes most sense to start here, which would have been, despite the pit, main entrance. Where I'm stood now would have been a support for what would have been a drawbridge that would have gone from where Eric is standing now with the camera filming me across to the other side here. You can also see the slots in the wall here where you used to have a portcullis. This would have had an arch just behind it, like the one that's behind Erica, if she wants to be nice enough to swing around and show you the arch there. So you can see how that arch has stood much better than the other one did, although you can also see in the wall, as Eric is probably showing you now, the square holes in the wall. There's 4 of them on each wall either side. Those would have been the supports for the portcullis mechanism and the drawbridge mechanism that would have pulled the drawbridge up and down, lowered the portcullis up and down, which means also, imagining, there would have been a second floor above here, which is where the portcullis would have disappeared into when it went up. This originally would have also gone off either side. It was a square style castle, but it had 2 rounded towers, one in each corner. The first one, or one of them, is the rounded area you saw me start the video off in. The second one is off to the other side there. It's not in much better condition, but we will have a look at that. And then there's also wall remains of the 2 buildings that were in here to house people who were staying in the castle. The castle had some fundamental issues, one of which was that if it was under siege, it had no storage facility for water, so it was you were never going to be able to be in siege here for long, which is probably why twice during the 1300s they lost this castle to the French. Come the 1400s, the castle was becoming lesser used, and then they're not sure when the castle ceased being used, but come like the late 1400s, the Seigneur of St. Juan, which is similar to the person in charge of St. Juan, like a constable would be today, was building his what's now St. Juan's Manor, and he was actually given permission to take stones from this castle and use them to build his house. Castle unfortunately was also then further cannibalised in the 1940s because the Germans used the granite in some of their fortifications built across the headland just over that direction over there, which at some point you'll get to look at because we've already done a few bunkers, so can't do a few without doing all of them. But for the time being, what we'll do now is I'll try and get myself out of the situation I got myself into, which was quite cool whilst I'm talking to you, but I hadn't thought about the way out. Anyway, so yeah, I'll find my way out and then we'll go and have a look around the bits and pieces left within, or what would have been inside the castle, and we'll go from there. Right, so this is the second of the 2 towers. Right, this is the second of the 2 towers. First one, like I say, we started off in. This one I'm noticing though, unlike the other one, there's a groove here in the wall, so I don't know if that would have been for hinges or something for the door, but there's a definite meant groove there. That's been done on purpose. You can see here where the windows would have been, or what's left of them, and there would have been something else in here because you've got a slot there, and that's normally reserved for slotting beams and stuff in, so I'm not sure what that would have been for. That's quite interesting. If you look behind us, which I find quite interesting too, if you look behind us there, you can see all the stone in the grass. And if Erica zooms in a bit, you can see just how much of this is was reduced to rubble. So the stone could be reused. I don't know if that goes back to maybe when the Signius Ones was taking stone for his house, or that ended up obviously being St One's Manor, or what that was for. But there's still a lot of spare stone there. That may also have just been the Germans. Right, what we'll now do though, is we'll go over here, over that way. There's part of a building left. I'm not sure what this one would have been though. So we'll have a look at that next. Right, so these are the two most intact. These are the two most intact buildings in the castle. It's quite windy out here today. As far as I can tell, from what I've read about the castle, these would have been the two small buildings that were here primarily to house the small amount of people that could stay here. Because that was another one of the castle's downfalls, as it couldn't hold a lot of people, as well as also not having any sally ports that had a lot of weaknesses. One of the weaknesses, however, wasn't the build quality. You can see how thick these walls are. And apparently the southern wall, which would be the wall that would have been along at the back here where you can now see the sea, would have actually been twice the thickness of that. So you can see that also gives you an idea of just how much stone has been removed from this castle over the years. I mean, there's the pile we saw over there before. There's another one here. You can see where now the grass has reclaimed that pile. Just so much of it that's been knocked down. You can see the remains there of another wall just over here that now looks like a slope that goes up, as Erica goes around there for you. And yeah, it's just been decimated. You can also see the remains over here if we come over this way. Right, what we can also see here is the remains of a what looks like it must have had two rear towers as well, because that one's definitely curved. There's nothing in that corner anymore, so I'm guessing the fourth tower must have been completely demolished, which, when you consider the castle was being raided for stone, isn't hugely surprising. But it didn't need much in the way of fortification. They just didn't think about how to last out an attack. When it came to actually being attacked, the castle wasn't prepared for anything other than just not letting the person in. They didn't think about keeping the people inside alive in any other manner. So you've got your remains there of what was, as you can see, it's quite a small tower. And if you come over to the edge here, which means Erica's going to have to be brave, she's not one for heights, you can see why they didn't need the fortification, because it's naturally impossible to have attacked the castle from down there. The same is on the other side and the back here behind the sea. So the only place that needed to be heavily fortified was over where we were before, where the drawbridge was. So this was an ideal location for a castle. I think it's just a case of a poorly planned castle. There's another doorway just over to the side there that goes down the cliff face. We'll take a look at that, and I think that's it for Grosnez. I did say it was a ruin, and there wasn't much left. Unfortunately, it would be nice if there was more to show you, because as far as I'm aware, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, many people have, but as far as I'm aware, there is no other castle, I think, besides, I think Gorey Castle originally had one, but this was, at the time when it was built, the only castle in the Channel Islands to have had a drawbridge. Gorey Castle did start off with a drawbridge, and that was removed and changed. But right, so we'll go over this way. I'll show you the last doorway, and there's a staircase there at the side of the main entrance. I'll show you on the way out of the castle, and then unfortunately there's not an awful lot left to show. So come on in, this way. Right, just give Erica a break. I'm now behind the camera, so if the camera shots deteriorate, we'll know that she's a better camera person. But oh, come down, that's quite the step. This is the last of the rooms that are left in here. As you can see, there's not an awful lot left in here at all. You can see again, like with the tower we saw out near the beginning, where the windows are. But really not an awful lot at all. I tell you what, it is a very good place to be if you like views out across the sea. Look at that. Maybe not when it's this windy though. Right, so I'm just outside the room I just showed you. Erica, well, as you can tell because I'm in front of the camera, has claimed the camera back. I don't know what this was. Clearly there's some sort of window entrance here, and I don't know what that was for. And you can see, if you follow the floor, this was a doorway, and then you all went round here, across here, and then came back round and went up that way. So that was the only way in, where I walked in through the gap there, unless that was a doorway, but I think it might possibly be a window now thinking about the size of it. What it was, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 1400s, possibly maybe somewhere to keep your horses, like a little, what's the word? Always happens when you're on camera, doesn't it? The might have been the stables, that's the one, but I'm not sure, but I'm guessing maybe. I'm not sure if they used horses up in this castle or not, so we'll have to, so you can find that one out. Also, if you notice over here, we'll go and take a closer look, which means Eric is now going to have to try and walk, not wobble the camera and give you a good shot, which you criticised me for in other videos, so this should be interesting. But you'll see here the remains of a staircase just there next to the archway. It goes on top of the wall. That's because the wall itself actually had a path in the middle, which is where the grass has started to grow on top in places. And you would have actually been able to patrol along the perimeter there, just either side of the main entrance, and that would have been for you guys with your bow and arrows to then shoot the arrows down at the people attacking from the front. That's what that staircase would have been for. And I'm guessing maybe possibly access also to the room above, where the portcullis would have disappeared into back when the castle was still in one piece. But it's definitely not that now. So with that said, that said, I've shown you what's left of this castle now. That is literally, that's all that's left. As you can see in the distance, there are German bunkers and fortifications. We will be looking at those. Some of them will be just me. Some of them will be with Paul, you saw in the bunker video released a couple of weeks back. But yeah, so those are something else to look forward to, since you guys seem to really like the German stuff. So, you know, giving the people what they want and such. So we'll do that. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll find somewhere, I'm tempted to say somewhere nice, but I'm always saying somewhere, so let's say somewhere snazzy to finish the video. New word of the day, snazzy, see if you can use that somewhere during today. Yeah, we'll finish this one off, only a short one, but then for the people who've complained that some of the training videos were too long, the right length, so it depends. Anyway, I'll see you at the ending. Alright, so Grosnez Castle, not much left. Got disassembled twice, that's bad luck, and not entirely thought through in times of attack. But you can imagine quite impressive in its day when it was in one piece. So it makes you wonder why they never put a new one here, and why the French started attacking Jersey from the south. Food for thought. Maybe we'll find that out if I do the other two castles. If you want to know about the other two castles, do let me know. Until then, I'm off back to my truck to do more research so I can do more stuff for you guys. I'll see you later.